Hello and welcome back, folks, to another episode of Insufferable with me, your host, Lindsay Howe, episode 30. Bruh. Oh, episode. Um, wow. First and foremost, I got a little bit of the sniffles. I think if you've been watching this podcast for this long, you be knowing that I be sniffing. Okay, I be sniffing on a regular basis, but now I be sniffing because I have a little bit of sniffles and a little bit of medical um intervention of it all. So I apologize for that. I'm not really sick, but yeah, I got a little bit sniff in me. Um so yeah, I'd be sounding pretty plugged up. That's kind of how it goes. I usually hate when people apologize for like sorry for how I look or like sorry for how I sound like I'm really stuffed up. But this is a pod. You know what I mean? And it's an audio based medium. So I feel like I do need to address the elephant in the room, which is I cannot breathe out of my nose. And I will be sniffing. Okay, so that's just a heads up. Thank you for being here for episode 30. Girl, it is almost mid-December. We are about to break into the new year. And this is the second to last episode of the year. Or no, I have 2 more episodes of this year. Damn it, I went through the whole fucking rigmarole last week. This comes out on the 15th. We'll have episode 31 on the 22nd and episode 32 on the 29th. So, yeah, so we do have 3 more episodes or 2 after this one of the year. And I'm really over here in my reflecting era, it's that time of year. I'm not really huge on resolutions because I don't know. I don't think you should be putting pressure on yourself like right at the top of the year. Or when you're wrapping up the previous year, go ahead and just chill out, look around, appreciate the year that you had, whether it was good, whether it was bad. Um this year, 2025, allegedly is the year of the snake. And while I do not know much about that year, well, let's see. Let's see if I can look up a little bit. Year of the snake. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Snakes are known for wisdom, intuition, and transformation. Though 2025 brings a clash with guardian deities, suggesting challenges, but also opportunities for growth and prosperity, if embraced wisely. So I was previous years of the snake was 1989, 2001, 2013, and now 2025. Now, it doesn't say it here on AI overview because, AI doesn't know anything. It turns out they are faking it till they make it. These bots, they just say stuff with confidence and they don't actually know the information. And I don't know if you guys been seeing these like AI actors they're trying to introduce. There's this guy on Instagram that does like he's like a casting director and he does, like, auditions with, AI actors. He gives them a prompt, "You guys are a family, it's Christmas, we're doing a Verizon commercial," or whatever, and AI doesn't has never had a human experience, and it is so clear, with these AI actors, and I fear it'll never get better. Actually, I hope it never gets better. You should never replace, actors with AI robots. That is totally the complete, like, antithesis of making films, dude. It's about the human experience, quite literally. So, you cannot cast AI actors. I don't know why I'm getting off on that tangent. Oh, because AI doesn't know anything. But, I've been hearing a lot about the year of the snake, okay, and that there's a lot of behind the scenes, internal work that you've been doing, whether you've been aware of it or not. It's one of those shedding your old skin type deals, and sort of, you know, for lack of a better descriptor of someone who, low key doesn't know what I'm talking about when it comes to like Chinese, um, zodiacs with the years and stuff. Snakes be slithering around in the grass, okay? You can't really see them until they reveal themselves. And at that point, they're probably attacking you, right? So, uh, if you want to reflect, if we all can take a moment right now together as a team, as a collective, to reflect on the year, and think about maybe the inner work that you've been doing that you're not aware of. Some stuff that you've overcome, or maybe stuff that you've dealt with behind the scenes, or, something along those lines. And just know that you'll be shedding that skin come new year, you know? Um, because, and again, I don't really know what I'm talking about. I'm kind of just like uh, interpreting the stuff that people have been telling me. Next year, 2026 is the year of the horse. I guess more specifically the fire horse, and that begins in February. Okay. From what I've gathered, you know, the horse is strong, steady, confident, and free. You know what I mean? Picture a horse running through a damn, grassy field. Horses are, inherently free, I fear. Well, I don't fear. I feel, and I don't know, that kind of seems like it kinda seems like a relief to me, I've been really, as you know, if you listen to the pod, I've been really giving in to the old universe of it all, understanding and believing that the universe has a plan and it's guiding me in the ways, and nothing that is for me will, pass me by, and all of that kinda good stuff. So I feel relief when I think, the year of the horse is upon us. Um, so that feels pretty good. I hope it feels good to you guys too. I hope we're all sort of tapping. I mean, if you listen to this pod, I hope that I'm encouraging you in some capacity to tap into the divine, you know what I mean? The universe. Maybe it's God for you, maybe it's Jesus for you. I think that, this kind of thing that I'm into right now is similar to what people, feel with religion, and that's, totally fine. However, whatever, methods, um, you need to use, in order to give in to the divine and allow it to, take your life, in the direction that is destined to go, um I think you should do that. It feels there's a little bit of relief when you know that something, bigger than you is sort of like handling the situation. Um, and the more you fight that, I feel like that's the more your life gets a little bit rocky when you, can't seem to, you know, give in. So, and that's sort of just light advice, you know what I mean? I've been having a little bit of rough time here last couple of weeks. But it's definitely opened my eyes to some of the things that I thought I was missing in this life. Um I've been doing a little caregiving for my grandmother. She was in a bit of an accident and she needs some light caregiving. And for a while I thought that I I was in a relationship that required so much emotional labor from me and only me, and it had been such a long time of me being in that, relationship that I genuinely thought that I was a selfish person. I'm like, "Oh, shit," like, this relationship is opening my eyes to the fact that I hate helping people. I'm a bad person, and I am not loving and giving the way I thought I was, because I was being stretched so thin. I was being, you know how they make, like, taffy when they stretch it out and they throw it over that little steak and they pull it and then they stretch it again and they keep stretching it? That's kinda how I felt, um, with my, interpersonal relationships. Not s just one particular. And I was like, "Damn, I am a monster, it turns out." Like, I should be able to, give the care that's being asked of me. But, I really genuinely thought that I lost, part of myself that was supposed to be caring and loving and giving and selfless. So I've kinda been on this journey this year of the stupid snake of finding out that I'm a bad person, when it turns out I am not. I am not. I've since distanced myself from that specific relationship, and I, was thrust into this caregiver position with my grandmother, and where I thought, "I'm not gonna be good at this." I mean, I love my grandma, but I am not a caring person. I don't like to care. I don't like to take care of. I don't like it. It's not me because that's where I was at in this year. That's where I ended up on my journey of 2025. And since I've been doing that, taking care of my grandma, um I kind of realized that that's not true. I actually am very caring and I can really make a difference in, you know, the life of my grandma, the life of, my family who's all kind of like, banding together to take care of her and everything. And, once I was in it, give me one moment here. Once I was in it, excuse me, I realized that I am actually good at this. It is in my nature to love and care. And you have to remember that as much as you want or need the people closest to you to help you through what you're going through, you also have to understand that they too are going through stuff and they, the age old saying, you cannot fill from an empty cup. You cannot pour from an empty cup, right? And I was running on an empty cup, girl. I had like 2 or 3 drops of, emotional energy in my cup for, frankly, a couple of years, but more so this year, I've been an empty cup, and I've been having to give the 2 or 3 drops per day to, some of the relationships around me, and it made me feel like I was a bad person. I was like, "Damn, I am really selfish. I am really like, I am not soft. I'm hard around the edges." I am like, I am a bitch. Who the fucking thought, girl? Who would have thought? Man, I never knew this about myself. But really, that wasn't true. I just needed to pull back, set some boundaries and get down to the foundation of who I am. And who I am is caring and loving. And I do a really good job at it too. I have really proven to myself that I am good. I am good lady. And I'm happy that I can say that about myself now because it has been quite some time that I have been feeling, I've been walking around with an empty cup and I've been having to give away my 1 or 2 drops that I have. So I've been focusing more on filling my cup, okay? So that when I do pour into other people, which I hate when people say that, pouring into other people, it's like, I don't know, the terminology freaks me out, but I'm able to do that now a little bit better, and I'm getting better at it. And I'm making a difference in my grandma's life and my family's life. And it was crazy because when I was listening to like a zodiac reading like a couple of months ago, and it was talking about my rising sign or whatever, and they were like, "You're gonna play, like, a very important part in your family dynamics and da 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 da," and really my family dynamics are very chill. Like, my family isn't very, like, needy. We're all pretty much, like, pretty, independent, and we love to get together, as often as we can to, like, hang out and play card games or, like, have dinner or whatever, barbecue, whatever. But I'm like, family dynamics, I don't really know. Tell me why my grandma got in a damn accident and I had to step up and help my dad and help my brother and help everybody, like, take care of her and stuff, and you can't tell me the zodiac ain't real, girl. There's something going on in them planets, and I had a whole theory that I was trying to tell somebody I used to work with who was like, "Oh, I don't like that woo-woo zodiac shit," and I'm like, "Okay, that's actually valid," you know what I mean? It's kinda hard to, really dive into something like that and kind of, a lot of people are skeptical, I understand. But at the bare minimum, you know, how like when stuff is coming and say there's like an earthquake coming or something like that and your animals like feel it before it comes type shit. Okay. So that's energy based. Are you saying your animals are liars? Are you saying that they just so happen to freak out before, like, a natural disaster happened or whatever? You're saying that your dog is lying by having a bark fest right before a natural disaster hits. No, you're not. Everybody knows that animals can kind of feel what's going on in the ether or whatever. Okay? So picture this, you know, the planets are moving around in the solar system, right? And they're quite literally filled with energy and gases and we're literally spinning whether you believe that or not and they think we're flat or whatever, we're still moving, everything's still spinning, everything's in motion, and there's these other planets around us that are also in motion, okay? And if they are doing weird shit up there and they are spinning in different ways or they're crossing other planets or what I'm not really an astrologer, but like they obviously go moving around out there, like there are, NASA exists for a reason, you know what I mean? So when the planets are moving around in the solar system, crossing each other, squaring each other, being in retrograde and all of those woo woo words that you think about, why wouldn't you have some sort of, suspicion that it would affect our moods on Earth? You know what I mean? Like, when shit's going down on Earth, the animals can tell, right? When shit's going on outside the Earth, maybe that's the power it takes to, get us moving, get us up and curious and in certain types of moods and in certain, you know what I mean? Like, it shifts our hormones in our body that makes us feel certain types of way. This is a theory. I am not an astrologer or a scientist. This is just how I feel about it. This is how I deduce the information, and this is how I, interpret the ways in which we are going about on this damn planet. I mean, we gotta have some kind of explanation for, the craziness. And, hormones, they be making you feel different, right? That is not a secret. You do not need to be a scientist to understand that, you know, women have a 28-day cycle. Through that cycle, their hormones do all sorts of crazy things. And, well, not crazy things, but like we feel certain types of way in certain parts of our cycle and blah, blah, blah. Same with men. They have a 24-hour cycle. So they're really going through it from, 24 hours every day. They be feeling good in the morning and bad at night, and good in the morning, bad at night. Okay. I'm feeling good for a week and then bad for a week. And then I feel murderous for a week. And then I feel like I don't give a fuck about anything for a week. You know what I mean? That's kind of how we go. So I think that there's something about the planets and what they're doing out there, moving around and shifting our energies and making our hormones maybe, fluctuate or dip or whatever. And that is why when, should be going down, you can go back and what's crazy too is you can go back and listen to an astrologer talk about something. Say you didn't listen to it before. Say an astrologer's like on November between November 7th and November 20th, you might feel a little bit groggy, because Saturn is actually crossing the sphere with Venus, and it's in the sign Scorpio. So it's going to be making you feel a little ticked. You're probably going to have some arguments with your close friends or family or whatever. If you hear that before the timeline in which they explain that, then you might be able to brace yourself for something like that. But imagine you go back, we're obviously past November 7th through 20th now, and you can look back and say, "Oh my god, I actually did get in a huge fight with my dad on that day." Like, in between those times, I did, and we've since resolved it, but, like, this astrologer told me this was gonna happen. So, I think that skeptics can, listen to an astrology reading, like, an overarching one, and if it applies to you, it applies to your zodiac sign or, anything like that. I think, like, it could just help you interpret, and I don't know how many I've talked about interpretation ad nauseum on this damn podcast. Interpretation is everything. That's why I'm, like, really into, analogies and, different perspectives on the same situation, because interpretation is everything. Perception is everything. And if you interpret stuff bad all the time, then you're always going to think it's bad. But there are something, you know what I mean? There there are things that I don't remember where I was going with that. But I'm just saying we're out here um in the year of the snake and it's almost over. Well, I'm back to the year of the snake. And then we're gonna be in the year of the horse, and allegedly we're gonna be free. We're gonna be free of everything. Okay. People born in the year of the horse or, whatever. Energetic, independent, popular, adventurous, loving, freedom, crowds, new experiences, but can also be impatient, self-centered, and hot-tempered. So, not everything is positive, obviously. But I wonder what other years of the horse we had. The year of the horse, 2014, 2002, 1990. That's my year. That's the metal horse, 1990. That's interesting. 1978. Previous years. Okay, personality traits: energetic, confident, free-spirited, charismatic, adventurous, optimistic, and independent. Oh my god, I am the year of the horse. I'm gonna have to read more on this later. Also, I'm in my tarot era. Okay, I actually have some really special news I'll be able to share regarding that era pretty probably not pretty soon. But soon I will say, and I've been listening to a lot of just what the tarot cards mean, what they represent, and how you can say it with me, interpret them. So that'll be really exciting. And I've been learning a lot. It's nice to learn. It's nice to learn. I'm not really a good student. I didn't really like school or college because I always felt like they were trying to get me to learn something I was not interested in. And that can be difficult for somebody who's not really interested in learning about the subject at hand. But when you grow up and you have the internet, and you can go ahead and look up specific lessons about specific things and learn about those things on your own time. And you're actually interested in them. So the information is actually absorbing into your brain when you're listening to it. That is actually pretty fun. And it's nice to learn. It's nice to learn. It's nice to take notes. You know what I mean? Watching a YouTube video, a breakdown of all the tarot cards and what they mean. And I'm over here studying. I'm about to make flashcards, so I can learn about them and really like kind of dive into that era of my life because I feel called to it, first of all, because I think that I could probably give readings because I'm really good at interpretation, okay? I'm really good at explaining, breaking stuff down, creating, scenarios and help people understand certain things. I think that I'm gifted with that personally. So, basically, I'm just over here like, I'm about to be in my tarot era. You get ready for me, girl. And I will not be doing readings on TikTok or anything like that. But it'll be a nice little party trick, Bring my tarot cards and give people little readings and stuff. And when you are friends with a bunch of witchy girls, that's fun. That's fun. Nobody's combative, nobody is skeptical. Everything is just open and welcoming, and everybody's kind of ready to take in the message. Heaven forbid spirit's got a message for you and you don't wanna fucking listen. Rude, rude. So, period. Um, but yeah, I'm over here reflecting on the year and on myself and, shedding the skin, and there's something I've been thinking about that I really wanted to talk about on the pod, which is cellulite, girl. Now I just started following this girl on Instagram. She's a gym girly. I forget her name, to be honest. I just started following her. But she's got her body is T and she be lifting very heavy. She's not a cardio bunny. No offense to cardio bunnies, but she be lifting heavy. And that's kind of, a goal. I'd be liking to lift heavy too. And when you lift, the body is T. I'm just saying. Um, and she has got some cellulite, and I have cellulite, and a spoiler alert, everybody's got it. Almost everyone has it, and I think that growing up in the early 2000s, cellulite was referred to as cottage cheese, cottage cheese thighs, and it was very demonized. Nobody wanted no cottage cheese thighs, you know what I mean? But if you think about it, the theme during that time was heroin chic, okay? You want to be as thin as you could possibly get, and it's scary, and we're going through that. Again, our poor young, girls and boys, the gays and the theys and everybody in between are struggling with the body image of it all, you know? body trends, they come in, they go out, they change, they turn back to stuff we used to do, and kinda have to be prepared for that. But for a while there, thick was in. Everybody wanted to be thick. And that kinda gave the thick girls a little bit of, some relief, you know what I mean? Because starving yourself is hard. And when you do so, there are other beauty aspects that fall by the wayside in order for you to achieve that heroin chic, which, spoiler alert, you should not be doing. Do not try to achieve heroin chic because um your teeth are gonna start getting brittle, your hair will be falling out, your skin will be you'll lose the color in your skin, and there's so many terrible things that go with, um, the starving of it all, you know what I mean? And, it's just, ah, man, it's not worth it. Like, I don't know why, um, society wants us to look malnourished, you know? And when you look malnourished and everyone is praising you for it, it is very scary to think about when you say that out loud. Like, the sicker you look, the more you are praised. And the only way to get to that point is to quite literally get sick, you know? Um, I don't know if I fully talked about my hospitalization when I was a teenager, but I'm not going to get into the full thing. But I was hospitalized for rotavirus. I was in the hospital for like a month and I couldn't eat because rotavirus basically caused me to get pancreatitis. And pancreatitis prevented me from eating for like 30 days because I could not digest any fats. I was not, my numbers are really high on like the certain enzymes that you need, and ones that you shouldn't be high were high or whatever. My numbers were all fucking crazy. So basically they had me on IV fluids for like a month and I couldn't eat. Like, and I was only like a teenager. And the whole time, I was just stoked to be getting skinny, right? But I was hungry. I was so hungry. Like, psychologically, it damaged me, not being able to eat for that long. But all that to say is I had to share a room with another girl who was hospitalized for bulimia and anorexia. Okay. That's what she was in the hospital for. She was so severely underweight that she was hospitalized and they were literally about to put her in like a mental institution type shit. Okay? I only know this because I shared a room with her. You know what I mean? There's only a little fucking curtain between us and I've been there for a long ass time, and there's not really much privacy when you share a room with another person in the hospital. Spoiler alert, it sucks. When I first got there at a private room, because I had rotavirus and they had me quarantined. And that was pretty nice. I had a decent view out the window. I was sick as a dog. I was throwing up every day. I was shitting blood. Like, it was terrible. It was terrible, but I had my own room, and then once the rotavirus was kinda cleared up and I was basically just being admitted for the pancreatitis and all the other things that was going on, they were basically like, "You have to share a room now, you can't have your own room, it's a little too luxury, you're not contagious anymore, so we're gonna have you share a room." Anyway, I shared a room with this girl. And I don't think I ever saw her. I only heard her. And let me tell you, this bitch used to belch like a fucking grown man. A 400-pound fucking blue collar, sody drinking, glizzy eating man. That is how she belched. Okay. I remember that distinctly. I'd be sleeping and this bitch would be fucking belching, okay? And I would hear her talking with her family, and they would be like, "You have to get into the 80th percentile of your weight class." I don't know how old she was. She's probably like, I would say she was like a teenager, maybe. Um, maybe she was like 20. I really don't know. I never saw her. This could all have been an illusion, to be honest. I never actually saw the girl. Mm. Because I was on the inside at the window and she was by the door. So, yeah, we never saw each other. Anyway, her family would come in every day and they'd be like, "You have to start eating some stuff." And since she needed to gain weight in order to get out of the hospital, they would bring her cookies and ice cream and sandwiches with chips and all of the foods that you could possibly wish for, she was getting and throwing away in the trash when nobody was looking and telling everybody she was eating it. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm over here and I haven't eaten in 25 days. I've been strictly living off of IV fluids at this point and getting my blood taken every day, and my numbers weren't good, so they wouldn't let me eat. The only thing I was allowed to eat was Jello, and they would bring me the yellow Jello, which, spoiler alert, tastes like fucking Pine Sol floor cleaner. It is the worst shit ever. The worst shit ever. But I could not eat anything else. They would not let me eat a toast or literally anything. Jello and fucking, Gatorade was the only thing I was allowed to consume, and it had been, 20, 25 days at this point, and now I can hear them telling this girl, "Hey, we need you to eat these Oreos. You have to eat them. Like, you need to get your weight up a little bit." And they would bring her fucking, like, 3 scoops of ice cream, like a fucking Neapolitan fucking, banana split, and they'd be feeding that to her, the nurses. And then I could hear her get up and put everything at the bottom of the trash can in the bathroom or next to her bed or whatever, and then the nurse would come in and be like, "Oh, did you eat it?" And she would say yes, and she wasn't gaining weight, and it was a whole fucking situation. But I was being fully tortured every day listening to this girl not wanting to eat when all I wanted to do was eat. I didn't care what the fucking meal was. I'm like, I could be a healthy girl now. Like, I don't care what it is. Like, I need a fucking meal. And every day when they came to take my blood, they would ask me how I was feeling because the pancreas was supposed to be hurting me. I was supposed to have like a lot of um, you know, abdominal pain with the pancreatitis, and I wasn't really feeling a lot of abdominal pain, but every time I would eat before this point where they cut me off of food, I would throw it up because I didn't have the enzymes, um, that I needed to digest the food. So my body would just repel it. I would just throw it up because I couldn't digest it. And then after I finally started being able to eat and after I was, discharged from the hospital and everything, I wasn't allowed to eat unless I took like 6 giant pills that were digestive enzymes before I ate. Like 10 or 20 minutes before I ate, I had to take all these fucking digestive enzymes and then I could eat. And even then I wasn't allowed to eat any fats at all. No fats. No butter, no oil, no avocado, nothing like that. I could only eat, like, carby things and proteins and, like, sugar because, once I found out that I could have candy and I was so, like, mentally fucked up at that point from, like, being, withheld food for so long that I just wanted to, like, eat good stuff. Like, I needed to replenish my dopamine in that way. Um, and I would see candy and I would have to look at the label and as long as it said 0 fat, I was allowed to eat it. So, that was when I was in my candy era. But, yeah, dude, and I remember the first meal I had when they finally let me eat a fucking meal, and it was a hospital meal, which, they're not good, but it was the best thing I ever had. Girl, it was the best thing I ever had. So, all that to say, heroin chic is not worth it. It's really fucking not. And having a healthy weight for your particular body, which just look around, girl. young girls listening, young boys listening, look a fucking round. Everybody's body is different. There is no average weight for people. Okay? Some people are short, some people are tall, some people are wide, some people are thin. This is just how human um form is. It's not a clone situation. So when they tell you that, BMI, which is so outdated and lame, and you know, how's your fucking mobility? How about that? How about we start there? Do you have a weight that prevents you from walking properly or being able to sit down and get up with ease, you know, and even if your weight is causing those things, whether it be overweight or underweight, underweight people sometimes they can't sit down and get up, right? Because they don't have the muscle mass to do so. This isn't about being overweight or underweight. It's actually about being both. It's actually about finding your perfect, or not perfect, but your ideal weight and composition for your specific body. That's why the fucking body industry is so toxic because they're like, you need to get to these numbers, which is our average overarching number, which doesn't fucking make any sense, right? You really think that me and someone who's 6'2" and me who's 5 feet tall should be around the same? No, that's not how it works. And 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 you know what? That brings me back to the cellulite of it all. When you demonize aesthetic things like cellulite or, freckles or, a little hyperpigmentation or whatever shade your skin is, like the amount of melanin you have and all of that, when you like really get to the level of picking everything apart, it's so exhausting, dude. It's narrowing down the beauty standard so heavily that no one is gonna recover from this. We are going to be at such a level of self-hatred at some point that the aesthetics are like me and my friend have like this we probably shouldn't joke about this, but we do because we are millennials and we grew up in heroin chic. And when we talk about our body goals, we say skeleton, because everybody wants to be like as thin as a fucking skeleton. We obviously do not want to be as thin as skeletons. That is not healthy, and, for all the things I just talked about, heroin chic and skeleton is not the ideal body goal for anyone, right? But it's funny that at some point you want to be skeleton, a living person. You know what I mean? Like, you are a flesh sack, like, your blood is literally coursing through your fucking veins and keeping you alive and doing the most miracle fucking things to keep you going and keep you walking around and breathing. No one ever thinks about that. Breathing, standing, jumping, running, all of those things, you need to, uh get down to the foundation of your specific body. And is it serving you every day? And if it is, you need to serve it. You cannot be punishing yourself day in and day out over some cellulite, girl. There is no medical reason to fear cellulite. It's not bad for you. And when you or I don't know who I'm talking to here, but if you're really big on editing your photos and you be smoothing out your cellulite, you are hiding from other young humans that cellulite is being eradicated, and it is not. 'cause you got it, girl, you just edited it out, and there's something so pure and lovely to me at this point in the body image of it all, where cellulite gives seeing cellulite on other people, especially like gym people or models, actors, people who we're supposed to look up to. When I see cellulite on them, it gives me such a deep comfort that I can't it's hard to put into words because it now feels attainable to me, whatever goals I have for my body. Right now, I'm trying to get bigger in some areas and smaller in other areas. A very specific body type that I'm trying to curate for myself that aligns with my frame, right? I don't have a heroin chic frame. It's not in the books for me. And thank God I don't want that because I'm not tall and slender. I am short and chubby. Okay. So I'm trying to, give a little shape to some areas of my body that I can only do through strength training. And at the same time I am building muscle, which is helping me with my blood sugar. I don't have issues with blood sugar, but everyone in my family's got diabetes. You know what I mean? So, at some point I do have to be, aware of, that sort of, threat or, possibility that I could have diabetes at some point. But, if you have, pardon me, let me fix myself here. If you have, a good amount of muscle mass, then you are, more capable of, preventing stuff like diabetes and stuff like that. I'm not a doctor, so, this is not medical advice, but that's how I picture it. When I'm doing leg day and I'm making sure that my legs and my glutes are strong and the muscle there is strong, not only is that helping me be mobile and, allowing me to get up and sit down and walk for many miles and, move my body, it's also helping my entire body, you know, processed sugar when I eat it, whether it's like literally ice cream or candy or, tomato sauce or whatever, you know what I mean? So there are other benefits to the types of exercises that I'm doing. And the aesthetics of it all is just a byproduct. You know what I mean? It's a byproduct of the exercises that I'm doing. So there's nothing wrong with wanting to change a little bit about your body, and sort of curate a nice shape that works for you and your frame and will keep you on, a healthy trajectory. Okay. But, you know, starving yourself or simply thinking that eating less is going to create your dream body or whatever, I really encourage people to get out of that cycle. It's a cycle that we have been in the past. Like I said, the heroin chic of it all, the early 2000s, and people was getting sick, you know? And that's not cool. That's really not cool, and I want people to be healthy, and most importantly, I want people to, appreciate the body that they have and care for it in a very, um, you know, loving way. It's so cliche to be like, "You need to love yourself," but that is I feel that that is the meaning of life. Love is the foundation for, um, everything. And if you do not love yourself, you're not you're not giving to the collective like I think that we are meant to, you know? Imagine spending your finite life on earth, hating. For lack of a better word, like, don't be a fucking hater on yourself. It's a bummer, A, B, it does not help anybody. You will make me hate me because you're so, you know, crazy about your own self that now you got me thinking about myself. So my purpose in life, I think, is to show my flaws and not even comment on them. You know what I mean? Like I started the episode being like, I hate when people apologize for the way they look or the way they sound. And then I proceeded to apologize because I'm sniffly or whatever. I can't breathe out of my nose. It's a podcast, it's audio based. I wanted to mention it. But I will not be apologizing ever again for the way I look. Sorry for the cellulite. No, I'm not actually. Cellulite gives me comfort. And when I see it in other people, it makes me feel better about myself. Sorry, I got small titties. How about that? I'm not going to look at somebody with large titties and say, "Oh, I wish I had those." I'm not going to put on a bra that's going to push them and lift them and mash them in a way that I want them to look so they'll look kind of like other people's. No, I'm gonna let them look the way they look. When other people take pictures of me or we take pictures together, I'm not going to review the picture and feel weird about how I looked in it and say, "Don't post that. Don't post that of me." Guess what? You could post it of me. That's how I looked in that moment. What are you gonna fucking do? This one picture is not going to, change the trajectory of my life because I didn't have lip stain on at the time, or my hair was, flowing in the wind and it was all weird. No. If you take a picture with me, you can go ahead and post it. I'm not worried about it. I'm really not worried about it. I cannot apologize for the ways in which I am captured on film or the ways in which my body exists in this timeline. This is just how I be looking right now. I cannot hide until I look the way I wanna look. There's a difference between working towards a goal and, you know, working towards a number. You know what I mean? Like the number on the scale, blah, 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 blah. People get caught up in that. I've been guilty of that too. But you know what? I kind of don't care what the scale looks like if I love myself. Wow, that's a fucking concept. Like, you know, and if you are a person who does, or you're a public figure, or you post content for people to consume, okay? If you're just a regular person who is not trying to share their life or whatever, that's different. But if you're a person who's posting content for many people to consume and you are creating an illusion that is not real, then that is doing a disservice to the ether, to the world. And you will inherently make someone else um insecure about themselves when you cover up your insecurities. And I'm not pushing this on you, this is just how I feel and this is how I am showing up on the internet now. That's how I'm showing up. I am not here to create an illusion that's not real. I'm here to just simply exist as myself, and I don't have an issue with anything, you know? I don't care that my arm looks like that in that picture. I don't care that my hair sucks in that picture. I don't care that I didn't have any makeup on and I looked really pale. I don't care that I'm not tan enough in this one, area of my life on this month. In June, I didn't have much of a tan. Oh my God, dude, how exhausting is it? It's so exhausting just even saying it out loud, right? And when you work in an industry too, like actors and stuff who see themselves on camera every day, then it's difficult to let that go, right? Because you're kind of seeing it all the time. But I'm telling you, once you let it go, the freedom is infinite when you do not worry about how you look and stuff. It is so freeing. And that's why I want the damn glow up of reality TV people from season 2 reunion to be studied. And Love is Blind, when they are on the season, that's the season. And then when they come to the reunion, everybody is fucking so skinny because the reunion is several months down the line after they stop filming. And once you see yourself on TV, especially as a regular person on some of these reality TV shows, Love is Blind, those are regular people when they come on the show. They're just regular Joe Schmoes and, silly Sallies or whatever. Once they see themselves on a damn, Netflix camera angle, um, they be like, "Damn, I need to fucking change my body." And then when you see them at the reunion, they're as thin as they can fucking possibly be, and that's a bummer to me. It's a bummer to me, but I understand it. It makes sense to me. Um, it totally makes sense to me, and I want people to be rid of that. I want people to just let that go. I wish that for you. I wish that for you. Again, there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of goals for your body, as long as it's not hurting you or others. But I just wish that you could just let it all fall to the wayside. You know, you could be having fun at the beach or at the lake instead of worrying about how you look in the bathing suit. You could just be living in the moment with your friends or your family or whoever you're with and having a good time, you know? That's kind of where a lot of this, that's a very specific experience that can be ruined by thinking too much about how you look in your body and all of that. And I wish that you could rid yourself of the stress that that brings. That is my wish for everyone. And my purpose in life is to just be who I am naturally. Okay? I'm not insecure, We all got insecurities. I'm not demonizing that, but my purpose is to just be the fuck who I am and not show up as the most polished version of myself every time another person sees me. I just don't feel like that's authentic to me. So, I encourage you to do the same, girl. Everybody is quite literally perfect in their own way. And that's the beauty of earthly existence. Everything is different. And we need to embrace that. We need to embrace that. And you know what? Like at some point, a body dysmorphia can take over your life. And that's why sometimes fillers and stuff only looks good to the person. And actually, I guess that's kind of the only thing that matters. If you love it, then that's great. But at a certain point, it's not translating, the way you think because it's so morphed in your brain, like, in my personal opinion, and I do not mean offense to anyone. If you get fillers or Botox or you're getting work done or whatever, I'm pro plastic surgery, by the way. Whatever you wanna do, I love that for you. But I don't want you to be burdened with, body image. I just don't want you to. I don't want that for anyone, especially our young girls and our young boys, and our young days and gays and all and everything in between. I want everyone to, embrace who they are because at the end of the day, that's the meaning of life is just to be yourself. And for everyone to fill in the gaps that other people may lack, like, and not that anyone's lacking. I'm just trying to like make sure that no one feels left out in this conversation because the conversation is to bring you in. And next time you see cellulite on a creator on the internet, I hope you feel comforted by it. I hope you feel at home. I hope you feel like you are looking at a real person. And you don't have to worry if it's edited or if it's AI or whatever the fuck. This is a real person because they did not edit out their quote unquote flaws. And that is comforting to me. And that is the sensation that I want you to feel when you see stuff like that. Okay? There's no shame in any of these quote unquote flaws that, industries make us feel about ourselves. Okay? So I am pro cellulite from now on. I honestly hope I never lose mine, to be honest. You know, I'm pretty sure it's genetic and um I like it. It gives me a fucking real feeling. When I see it on myself, I say, look at that real thigh. It's real in the flesh. And it's strong thigh, and I can lift with these legs, and I can walk with these legs, and, they be looking good, and they be looking cute. So, pro cellulite channel here, okay? We love cellulite around here, and that's basically the most thing I wanted to talk about today. But 111. We had been recording for, 1 hour, 1 minute, and 11 or whatever the fuck. I was 111 when I looked. So, new beginnings. Okay, let me look and see what 111 means. I'm having a little trouble believing no, not believing, but like the angel numbers because I feel like they all kind of say the same thing. But 111 signifies new beginnings. That's my big joke now. Every time I see an angel number, I just say new beginnings because I feel like they all say that. But new beginnings, powerful manifestation, spiritual awakening, and aligning your thoughts with your reality. That's kind of what I just did. Spiritual awakening, me and my connection to cellulite now. I'm just saying, girl, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. So, anyway, that is going to do it for me today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope that this message resonated in the way that I intended it to. Okay. I love you. I love your body. I don't care how it looks. It looks cute to me. And that's on period. Okay. Um, Merry Christmas. If you celebrate, happy holidays in general. I do have my little Christmas tree here. I did not fully decorate it yet, but she is in the episode today, and that's nice. But I'll have it decorated next week. And yeah, we're 2 weeks away from Christmas, which is my favorite holiday of the year. So if you celebrate, Merry Christmas. If you do not, happy holidays. I just hope that you're having a good month in general. Gearing up for the new year. We have 2 more episodes this year, so we're gonna make them good, and we're going to shed our old skin from the year of the snake, and we're about to be horses, girl. We're about to be horse girls. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week. Bye.